Hello, I'm Mike, and that's Matt, and this is another TV guide video that I'm making. These are, I like to collect old TV guides, and I'm going to be showing some highlights of the TV guides that I have, especially the ones that I got from a person who lives in North Carolina. She had a good price on a TV guide collecting Facebook page, and so I went ahead and bought about 30. I think she had about 30 or 40, so I went ahead and bought those. And the first one that will feature has John Travolta on the cover, celebrating his role as Barbarino on Welcome Back, Kotter. This episode issue features, here's some highlights. There's a show called Who's Who, premiering that evening, the evening of, this is January 4th, 1977. We're going to get personal with people other people are talking about. Dan Rather will be the host. Charles Kuralt and Barbara Hauer bring you brisk, unretouched close-ups that will review the human side of public figures. Executive producer was Don Hewitt, who also was the executive producer of 60 Minutes. Alright, so there's that. And oh, here we go. Oh, this is a classic. Shoney's presents another Bill Bixby's World of Magic. If I could go back in time, the first thing I'd do is watch this episode. It's another, so there must have been multiple. Shoney's presents another Bill Bixby's World of Magic, a full hour of family fun.
That sounds great.
This is perfect. This is like the best thing I've ever seen. Sponsored by Shoney's, not just Shoney's, but Shoney's Big Boy. That burger chain has an interesting history in Dallas. We had Kip's Big Boy, Kip's, K-I-P'-S, in Dallas. Although some parts of the country, there was just called Big Boy. But in Dallas, it was called Kip's. We live in Dallas, by the way. Shoney's, I guess, was part of the Big Boy group. I don't know. There was a Shoney's in Irving for, I don't know, about 6 or 7 years before it was turned into before it closed, and it was turned into an IHOP. Mm-hmm. The reason why Bill Bixby got involved in the magic show was probably because he had just come off of that show called The Magician, mm-hmm. where he played a magician who probably helped solve crimes. I've never seen an episode, but in the 70s, most shows that were an hour long involved someone solving a crime. Like Streets of San Francisco, which evidently was on the ABC late movie. Now, CBS's late movie was pretty famous for showcasing reruns of shows like Quincy and McMillan and Wife, Banachek, Heck Ramsey. But ABC, for a brief amount of time, had their own late movie. And on this evening, January 3rd, 1977, you could watch Streets of San Francisco with Carl Malden and Michael Douglas. And then they had an episode of Dan August, which was a show that starred Burt Reynolds. So, all right. On that same evening, there was a movie with Paul Winfield called Green Eyes. I've not heard of this. Green Eyes, if you've ever loved a child, you won't want to miss Green Eyes. One man's desperate search for his lost son takes him to the most precious kind of love there is. All right. On that same night, I would probably watch Captain and Tennille. On tonight's episode, Gabriel Kaplan joins Tony Tennille and Daryl Dragon, along with Ron Howard, Aaron Moran, Donnie Most, and Roz Kelly, and the Pinkettes of Happy Days. Alright, well that sounds pretty typical for a variety show in the 70s. You'd have a weird mix of guest stars. So that happened. Let's see, what else did we have that
If
night?
I wanted to watch The Wide World of Mystery, when and where would I have done that? As in, what channel?
Wide World of Mystery. Wasn't that a ABC late night thing?
I don't know.
Because ABC had a late night thing called the Wide World of Entertainment,
Okay.
which started around 1974 or 75. The Dick Cavett Show ended its ABC run in 1975, but I think its last season, the last season of the Dick Cavett Show, was on what was called the Wide World of Entertainment. Probably a play on Wide World of Sports that ABC also had. Remember that? There was a TV movie that I got.
Alien.
It had Kate Mulgrew. Alien Lover?
Alien Lover.
That featured on...
That was a wide world of
That was
mystery.
a wide world of... Was it Wide World of Mystery? Probably.
I think so, yeah.
It might have been, yeah. I think Wide World of Mystery might have been an offshoot of Wide World of Entertainment. So that was... I was going to say that might have some listings in this issue, but then I just found that Streets of San Francisco and... I don't know. They probably alternated between like semi-original content and reruns. Here is, this is a soap opera I've never heard of. Starting today, Lovers and Friends, the bold new series blazing with life and love as they are today, created by the team that brings you another world. Lovers and Friends. That was on NBC. Probably didn't run for very long, but it was on at 12:30 Eastern Time. This issue of TV Guide, again from January 1st through the 7th of 1977, is from, let's see, the city, Charlotte, North Carolina. All right, with listings for Charlotte, Greensboro, Raleigh, Durham, Winston-Salem. I just paged by an ad for To Tell the Truth. This was, of course, the long-running game show hosted by Gary Moore that featured 4 panelists trying to guess whether or not these 3 people were telling the truth about whatever subject they happened to be
Were they?
discussed. One of them was true. You know that thing, will the real Matt Oakes please stand up?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Jesus Christ. Okay. All right, sit down. Okay. 1977 would have been the last year that this current version... 78 was the last year that this version ran. 77, I think, was the last year... No, Gary Moore stopped... He got sick, and Gary Moore stopped hosting sometime in 77 or 78. And then Joe Garagiola, the ex-baseball player and ex-baseball announcer. Matt's found something
Well, I thought I did.
potentially interesting.
Keep talking.
So, 1977 was an interesting year for TV because you had, most of the big CBS shows at the time were still going, like MASH and All in the Family, Kojak, Barnaby Jones, Mary Tyler Moore Show, Bob Newhart Show. But then Mary Tyler Moore Show ended in 77 and it morphed into Lou Grant, which of course, as most people watching this probably know, that Lou Grant is the only dramatic series that was spun off from a sitcom. I don't think that's happened again. I could be wrong. I haven't paid as much attention to TV in the last 20 years as some people have. But anyway, that was the thing. Lou Grant's a great show. And if you ever want to see an episode of Lou Grant, you can always go to the back room and find one. I thought I had it here, but anyway. Well, you can always watch Cop Rock. Not a bad show. Cop Rock gets a really bad rap, but I think it's too bad it didn't last long because they had a pretty decent storyline going on. I think people just weren't really mentally ready for a serious cop show that was interrupted by musical numbers. That's exactly what it was. The cop show element of the show was deadly serious.
Mm-hmm.
It just happened to be interrupted by musical numbers, and I don't think that people were in the mindset of that being a thing yet in 1990. All right, so let's see. Okay, so there's that TV guide. Let's move on next to one that is this one. No, not that one. Let's go to this one. Has Kojak on the cover. This is also from 1977. It has Telly Savalas and his brother George Savalas, who played another detective on the series. Kojak. This episode, this one is from February 12th through the 18th of 1977. Here is an ad for 8-track tapes if you want to join a record club. This was the RCA music service. For 5 cents, you could get any 6 tapes or records. Did you ever join a club like that?
Columbia House and BMG, yeah.
I did too. I joined one. I joined a book club and a music club, and I have like, I don't know, 10 CDs from, I think it was also Columbia House. So, and I have like 5 books. And then I instantly just, I think
Canceled it?
Well, yeah, I think if you send them back the book or the CD a certain amount of times, I think they figure out that you're not interested. So basically, the way it worked is that you would get your 10 CDs
for a penny,
or a nickel or whatever it was, and then that would basically be you saying, okay, I'm joining this record club, and then every month they'd send you a new CD in a cardboard box.
Not of your choice.
Not of your choice.
Just the one that they were
right.
showcasing that month.
Right, exactly, of their choice. Yeah. And then, if you didn't want it, you didn't know what it was unless you opened it. But I always you could write return to sender,
right.
Put it back in the mailbox, and I don't remember ever actually canceling those, though. I think I just sent them back so many times and never actually bought one that they must have had like a certain amount of, like, if this customer sends back like 6 in a row, then they're probably not really, they're probably one of those people who, took advantage of the offer, yeah. Oh, now we're in business here. Quinn Martin's Tales of the Unexpected. Tonight, Devil Pack. They held an entire town in their sinister, deadly grip. And it's a picture of a dog. Oh, I bet that's a good episode. Now,
can't be as good as the Bill Bixby episode.
Nothing.
That does look pretty great.
Nothing is as good as anything with Bill Bixby. He's the Bix. He is the best. Tonight's episode of Tales of the Unexpected. An isolated community is terrorized by wild dogs whose blood-curdling howls cause their domesticated cousinry to turn against their masters. William Conrad is the host. This episode featured Ronnie Cox, Christine Belford, Van Williams. I have a few. This has never been out on any sort of media, VHS, DVD, Blu-ray, but I think it should be. I think.
Agreed.
Yeah, I think they would sell. It ran for like 1 season, I think. Has a cool intro. You should check out the intro for Quinn Martin. You got to make sure it's Quinn Martin's Tales of the Unexpected, because there was
Roald Dolls. Right?
Not Roald Dolls. That was a British show which ran
which
for,
is okay.
Which yeah. But yeah, Quinn Martin's Tales of the Unexpected.
Yeah.
We've got.
What is that? On the other page, next page. Maybe skipped it.
This is.
Oh, A Man Called Horse.
Oh, okay. Here's a CBS airing of A Man Called Horse, starring Richard Harris. Captured, tortured, and.
No relation.
No relation. Tortured, captured, enslaved. Then the greatest ordeal of all, the electrifying ritual to become an Indian warrior. CBS aired A Man Called Horse. I've heard of that movie. I've heard of it, but I've never seen it. Have you seen it?
I think so.
Okay. Let's see, what else do we have here? Oh, a Charlie Brown special. Perfect timing. This is back when they aired holiday shows on the actual holiday, because on February 14th, 1977, Be My Valentine, Charlie Brown. The book version of this was pink. I remember that. On an earlier TV Guide episode, which may or may not be posted in order, but it doesn't matter because we're all having a good time. I mentioned that there was, in another TV Guide that we looked at, You're a Good Sport, Charlie Brown aired, and that book version was orange. And I remember that as a kid.
Ooh, what's the mystery of Wizard Oliver? Oh, Hardy Boys.
Hardy Boys. Insight.
Ooh, Insight.
Insight.
Fantastic.
A drama about teenagers who play out fantasies and hostilities toward their parents in a group psychotherapy session.
That sounds great.
Matt, tell us about Insight.
Insight wasn't it you know more about this than I do. Christian? Was it a Christian television program?
Catholic.
Catholic.
Yeah.
What, Catholic.
It was a Catholic anthology show.
Originally hosted by...
A priest.
Yes.
You
don't remember his name?
I don't.
Me neither.
Father something, probably. So Insight was a syndicated show which ran several years, like 1964 to 1985, and it was syndicated. It was usually on Sunday mornings. It was a religious show that would have, like, you know, a different plot each week. Kind of like, I mean, it wasn't like The Twilight Zone or Outer Limits, but it was
an anthology.
It was an anthology series. Yeah, exactly. The cool thing about this show is that they got lots of famous people to be on. Mm-hmm. It was this little religious dramatic anthology show run by the Paulist Priests, Paulist, the Paulist Priests, which is an order of Catholic priests. They got people like Ed Asner, William Shatner.
Was it Leonard Nimoy? Or no, I'm thinking of something else.
Nimoy might have been on one. Betty White, I think, was on one. I mean, I don't have a list in front of me, but they got a lot of famous. Carol O'Connor. And they were doing these episodes while they were already famous. Like, I think Carol O'Connor was on an episode while On the Family was airing. Mm-hmm. Like, so they must have, I don't know, maybe these actors were religious or they wanted to just contribute. I don't know. Maybe it was some sort of community service they had to do. I don't know. Got any Insight episodes I can do? You know. Maybe that was it. I don't know. But if you want to watch an episode of Insight, almost all of them are on YouTube.
That is true.
Just enter the word Insight. You may need to put more into YouTube, into search, like maybe Insight TV show. And then you'll see lots of really high quality episodes of that series. They're
not all necessarily religious themed, are they? I don't
not
think they
outwardly
are.
religious. It's not. They're not like a lot of the like Christian movies that come out now. They're like really blatant.
Right.
They're more like family dramas.
Possibly moral tales. But
morality plays.
Yeah.
Morality. That's a good way to describe it. Yeah, morality tales. Yeah. That'd be another good podcast. Like someone could like watch all the episodes of Insight.
That'd be great.
John Ritter was on an episode while Three's, like in the 80s.
That's awesome.
Yeah, while Three. There's actually an episode with John Ritter and Mrs. Roper, Audra Lindley, on the same episode.
Oh, wow.
She had already left Three's Company, but John Ritter was still on the show. I think this episode is from like 1980 or 81. That's on YouTube. But anyway, that's Insight. Some of the episodes have a really cool intro.
Did you know that the first maybe 10 episodes or so were just sermons by Father?
No,
yeah.
I didn't know that.
They had no short stories, no stories at all.
Wonder why they changed. Maybe
to get more viewership, maybe?
Yeah, probably, yeah. All right. Let's look at one more for this video. This looks promising. It has Bob Dylan Today, a rare interview. Oh, it's an interview with Bob Dylan. This one is September the 11th through the 17th of, I think it was 1976. I just got this box of TV guides maybe about a month ago, and I've waited. I just opened it up today in a different video that we made earlier. So if you want to go back and watch the unboxing of the TV guides, then that might be interesting. This one appears to be cut off on the edge, like every page. Well, not every page. The first half seems like maybe a printing error.
Oh, yeah.
Where there's like, there's not that much cut off on the side, but there's...
It's a printing error, because look at how much space.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, here's what we're talking about. I don't know if you can tell in the camera, but it's like cut off on that side, and then there's a bunch of space, like right here. But that's just a case in about half of this TV guide. Anyway, let's see. What was on this week? Inside Television, ABC 76. This is a special and a spectacular star-studded comedy and variety with Nancy Walker, Tony Randall, Bill Cosby. Too soon. Yeah. Captain and Tennille. Lots of, looks like ABC stars at the time. The cast of Charlie's Angels. Best Charlie's Angel, in your opinion?
Jacqueline Smith.
Oh, damn right.
I mean...
Yeah, no doubt. Pat Morita and Susan Blanchard of Mr. T and Tina. And Richard Shull and John Schuck from Holmes and Yo-Yo. Both of those were one-season shows that were on ABC that year. So that looks like some, like, cavalcade. Oh, I see what it probably was. The week for this TV guide, early September, mid-September. So this show was on Monday, September 13th, 1976. Back then, they used to have like shows with like, they were like fall preview shows, and they would get like a bunch of stars from the network, and they'd like show clips from like the upcoming new shows and the returning shows. They had one that I put up on YouTube, but I think has since gotten taken down. Like in 1984, ABC did one, but the theme of the show was a Love Boat. So like all the celebrities from the new ABC shows were all like on the Love Boat, and like you'd see like the stars of Lottery interacting with like Gopher and Gavin MacLeod, Like, oh, I hear you have a new show. That's my bad, Gavin MacLeod. Welcome on the Love Boat. I hear you got a new show. It's called Matt Houston. Well, thank you, Captain Stubing. Yes. All right, so Shoney's presents Julie, A Salute to Hollywood, starring Julie Andrews and 70s mainstay Rich Little with Ken Berry, Alice Ghostley, and Jack Cassidy. Now, if that's not a 70s variety show lineup, nothing is. And then also sponsored by Shoney's, A Man Called Lombardi, narrated by Academy Award winner George C. Scott. I'm guessing, without knowing anything, I'm guessing that's probably a documentary about longtime Green Bay Packers coach Vince Lombardi. I've never heard of this special, but I'm guessing that that's what it was. It doesn't have a time. I'm guessing it was on the... Oh, here's Julie. That was on at 8. At 9 o'clock, you could find... I don't see it. Anyway, well... Anyway, I saw something interesting. I've never heard of this TV movie. Now, I'm all about Andy Griffith in shows where it's not a comedy.
Dramas,
like
yeah.
Andy Griffith in anything dramatic or anything that's not Mayberry related, is always interesting to me. Now, I mean, Andy Griffith Show is great. You know, it's a great show. He's really good on it. But it's interesting to see him in, like, dramas, whether he's playing a good guy or a bad guy, because he's one of those interesting actors. You know, like, not interesting as in he was bad, not at all. But to me, like, Eddie Albert falls in that category. Christopher Walken, although, I mean, I don't know if I should really include him because he's kind of a cultural
Right.
icon or phenomenon now. So Buddy Ebsen might fall in that category, at least for me. Do you have any like that?
Off the top of my head, no.
Okay. Well, if you think of any, you know where I am. Yeah. So this is a TV movie I've not heard of. Andy Griffith plays a hard-driving, high-principled New York prosecutor named Gus Brenner in Street Killing, a 1976 TV movie. The murder victim is a jewel importer. The guy that Brenner is trying to tie to the crime is an underworld big shot. Is this the one with... No, it's not.
Well, it has Bradford Dillman, which we've already brought up today, and Robert Loggia.
Robert Loggia, Harry Guardino, and... Fred Sadoff, Paul Hecht, Don Gordon, Adam Wade. Yeah. Okay, I need to look this one up. Street Killing. I know of, you know, there's, of course, one of my favorite movies is Prey for the Wildcats, an awesome TV movie featured. Now this cast is great. William Shatner, Robert Reed, Marjo Gortner. If you don't know anything about Marjo Gortner, Google him, YouTube him, watch the documentary called Marjo, Marjoe. It's all about basically when he was a kid, he was forced to be like a preacher, and then he grew up, and I don't know, where was he forced? I don't know. Well, anyway, William Shatner, Lorraine Gary, Robert Reed, Andy Griffith. Andy Griffith basically plays a bad guy in this. That's not a spoiler because you could pretty much lay it out at the beginning. Great TV movie. There's also a couple of other TV movies he was in. Andy Griffith was in, like Deadly Game, Winter Kill, I think is the name of one. Mm-hmm. Not to be confused with the Jeff Bridges movie Winter Kills. That's a different thing. All right. We had a nice network airing of Chitty Chitty Bang Bang with Dick Van Dyke on September the 13th. We had a show called Steve Allen's Laugh Back. The whole gang drops in on Steve to joke a little, reminisce a little, and laugh a lot at playbacks from the great Steve Allen shows of the 50s and 60s. Oh, so it looks like a show where, like, Steve Allen would watch clips of his old shows with, I guess, people who were on those shows, and I'm guessing maybe he had, like, current guest stars, people of the time. Mm-hmm. I wonder, let's see if there's a listing for, maybe it'll give us an idea of what to expect. 5 o'clock. Nope, it just says Steve Allen's Laugh Back. I might look that. Part of the fun of looking at these old TV guides is discovering shows I've never heard of and just looking to see, I wonder if that's on YouTube. And of course never getting around to watching them once I find them. But, you know, one more thing, this will be the last thing for this issue. Back in the 70s and 80s, you'd always see big ads for the new Saturday morning cartoons. This was ABC's lineup of Saturday morning cartoons for the 76-77 year. The Tom and Jerry Grape Ape Gumbly Show?
Got me.
The staple is kind of blocking the first letter of whatever that is. Wonderbug, Dr. Shrinker.
Croft Super Show.
Yeah. Oh, Electro Woman and Dyna Girl. And something with Soupy Sales called Junior Almost Anything Goes. Oh, and Arc 2 debuted. I wonder if there's a CBS ahead. Arc 2. Oh, this is going to be better. CBS had better Saturday morning shows than any other network. They had the greatness of the Shazam and ISIS Hour. ISIS, not to be confused with the terrorist group. If you're watching this, you probably don't think that's what I mean. Isis, of course, the superhero, played by Joanna Cameron. That show ran for like a year, 75 to 76, but it kept getting replayed for a couple of years after that. It was a spin-off of Shazam, which is a DC Comics character. They were both live action. They were on Saturday mornings, but they were both live action shows. Isis was on DVD. I think it's out of print. Luckily, I bought a copy of it.
It's super expensive now.
Yeah. Arc 2 is also on DVD. I have a copy of that as well. I don't know if that's still on DVD or not. I mean, I don't know if it's still available. You also had the Bugs Bunny Roadrunner Hour. I know it as the Bugs Bunny Roadrunner show. I'm guessing that a few years later it was extended to 90 minutes and called the Bugs Bunny Roadrunner Show. Remember the Bugs Bunny Roadrunner movie? That came out in 1979, and it was like a 90-minute just compilation of cartoons.
Wow.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's all for this issue. It had Bob Dylan on the cover. It was from September 11th through the 17th from Charlotte, North Carolina. And thank you for watching this.